Today I'm doing a deep dive into the 2024 elections for the United States Senate. Today's video focuses on the state of Montana. Montana is one of the top targets for the Republicans trying to retake the Senate, as there is a Democratic incumbent senator up for re-election this year in a very, very vulnerable environment. As on the presidential level, it is expected Montana will go Republican by a pretty sizable margin. The Senate race makes defending for the Democrats much more difficult. So with that said, in the last three Senate elections in the state of Montana in 2020, the Republican incumbent senator won the state with a margin of victory of 10%. In 2018, the current Senate seat that is up for election in 2024 that we're going over today, in 2018 it was up for the election, and the Democratic incumbent who is running now, who also ran in 2018, won the state by 3.6% margin of victory. In 2014, the race from 2020, that Republican senator, same Republican senator, won the race for the first time by 17.7%. That's when he got elected for the first time. The current polling average right now on the RCP.com currently has the Republican challenger leading at 51% of the vote. The Democratic incumbent senator is at 44.3% as of the day I'm recording this video. Now for the national vote of these three elections, the national Senate vote across the country had Republicans up 2.3%. In 2018, the national Senate vote overall across all the Senate seats for the country had Democrats plus 19.9%. In 2014, the national Senate vote had the Republicans up 7.7% in that election. Right now, the generic congressional vote on the RCP polling average has Democrats favored or up 1.4% right now. In that Montana Senate poll, I showed you the two candidates earlier. I'm now showing you the average lead right now. The Republican is up 6.7%. So how does Montana vote compared to the rest of the nation? I showed you what the margin of victory was in 2020, and I showed you what the national margin of victory was for each party. In 2020, the state of Montana voted 7.7% more Republican than the nation as a whole. In 2018, the state of Montana in the Senate election voted 16.3% Democratic than the nation as a whole. And in 2014, the state of Montana voted 10% more Republican than the nation as a whole. On average, that would be Republican plus 0.5. So basically very, very close. When you look at the last three elections, it's absolutely close to a pure toss-up in terms of which party is favored, as there really could be. At least at the Senate level. President and governor are different stories, but definitely the Senate level, very, very close. Now for some Senate forecasts. These are how some top-rated pollsters and forecasters have the race listed. Electoral Politics has Montana Senate race as a lean Republican seat, which would be a flip from its current composition as a Democratic Senate seat. Sabo's Crystal Ball has it the same way as lean Republican. Inside Elections has it as tilt Republican. That's a flip as well. Decision Desk HQ and The Hill also has it as lean Republican. And Cook Political Report also has it as lean Republican. Most of the pollsters and forecasters agree that this is a seat right now that seems to be a lean Republican seat, which would be a flip and would give net one Senate seats to the Republicans on the Senate map. For the two candidates on the Democratic side first, because he's the incumbent, it is incumbent Senator Jon Tester. He is running now for, I believe, his third term in the United States Senate. He is going up against Republican challenger Tim Sheehy, who won the primary back earlier in the spring. And some key counties I'm looking for in the state of Montana. First county I'm looking at is Lewis and Clark County. This is where the capital, Helena, is. And I'm very interested in this county because in 2014, in an election where the Republican won big, and I'll be going over the map in a few minutes, so I'll be showing you the results in the map as well. The Republican running to be senator won the state pretty big, and he won the county by 5.4%. Very, very close. In 2018, the Democratic Senator, Jon Tester, won the state as a whole by a little over 3 points. And yet, he won the county by 18 points. In 2020, the Republican won by 10 points, and it was a 3.2% win for the Democrat. So the point I'm making here is for a Democrat to win the state of Montana, they need to have a margin similar to what Tester got in 2018, where it was up 18%, because they won the county in 2020 by only by 3.2, and they lost statewide by 10 percentage points. Winning it by 3.2, winning it close, would not be enough to win the state. They need a win similar to 2018, where they won the county by 18%, and they still only won statewide by about 3.5 percentage points. That's what shows that county is so important. Now to Gallatin County, where in 2014 it voted for the Republican by 8.1% margin of victory. In 2018, it voted for the Democrat Jon Tester 21.4%, and in 2020 it voted for the Democrat 10.8%. So as you can see, again, for Tester to win this election, he needs to be running closer to those 2018 numbers than the 2020 numbers of the Democratic candidate, who was former Governor Steve Bullock. He would much need to be closer to his 2018 numbers to win this race. Anything kind of less than this or in between this could spell trouble for Tester on election night. Hill County, it was an 8.1% win in 2014 for Daines, the Republican candidate who became senator. 20.3% win for Tester in 2018. 3.8% win for Daines, again, the Republican, in 2020. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but for Tester to win, he needs to get closer to that 20% margin from 2018 than what Bullock got in 2020, where he lost the county. That certainly will not help his chances if he's losing it. In 2014, Daines was able to lose this county. In 2014, the Democratic candidate was able to win this county by 0.8%. Tester won it in 2018 by 32.5%. And then Bullock in 2020 won the county by 14.4%. Again, a massive drop-off in Democratic support from 2018 to 2020. Tester needs to get his numbers closer to 2018 to even have a shot at winning the state. And lastly, in Roosevelt County, it was a 2.9% win for Daines in 2014, a 19.4% win for Tester in 2018, only a 6.2% win in 2020. So as I showed you, there's a lot of strong Tester support in 2018. 2020, a lot of that, like most of it, went away for Bullock, the Democratic candidate. The question for this election will be, can Tester get back to these numbers from 2018, or will it be more of what 2020 was? And that will be what decides this election. These key counties, how will they go for Tester or for Sheehy? That will decide how this election will go. Because as 2020 showed, Bullock, the Democrat, won 4 out of these 5 counties. But the margins in which he did it were not enough, not only to win the state, not even have it be that close. It was a 10-point win for the Republican senator. For Tester to win, he needs to win all these counties won in 2018, and like the margins he did, he has to blow Sheehy's numbers out of the water in these counties to even have a chance to win a close election. That remains to be seen if that will happen in 2024, however, but that's why we're going over this state. It's going to be very close. That's why we're watching it. Now for 2020, here's the map where Daines, the Republican, got 55%, Bullock, the Democrat, got 45%. As I showed you the numbers, like Gallatin County, Lewis and Clark County, Hill County, Blaine County, and Roosevelt County, this is how they looked on the map. The solid blue, obviously, is solid Democrat. The lighterish blue is likely Democrat. The very light blue is lean Democrat and under. And then same thing, solid dark red is Republican. Kind of that like lighter reddish color is likely Republican, and more of the light red pinkish color is lean Republican. So that's 2020. In 2018, a very close race between Jon Tester and now current Representative Matt Rosendale, 50.3% for Tester, 46.8% for Rosendale. And you can just see the margins, and there's a lot more blue in the state, but also the counties that are blue got much bluer, obviously, from 2020 to 2018. A lot of the counties got bluer. A lot more counties got blue as well, but the fact the margins were so big is what led Tester to being able to win a very close election. That's what he's going to have to replicate in this election to even have a chance at winning. And then 2014, when Daines won his first election, it was 47.9%. The Democrat got 40%. And as you can see, this is probably like Tim Sheehy's absolute best case scenario that I don't think he's really capable of reaching, because I think Daines in 2014 had such like a lot of momentum on his side. Plus, 2014 was one of the best Republican midterm elections in a very long time. 2024 is a presidential election up against a Democratic incumbent senator. It's not going to be as big of a blowout as 2014 was in 2024. I don't think that'll happen. I think somewhere definitely between 2014 and 2018 is where the map is most likely looking right now. The question is, what will it end up being? Now, getting into the candidates themselves and their respective parties. For the Republican Party, Montana in 2020, the Republican got 55% of the vote. In 2018, the Republican got 46.8% of the vote. And in 2014, the Republican got 57.9%. I conducted a range analysis and an average of the last 3 elections. For the range, I found that 35.8% on the low end to 69% on the high end is where the range is for the Republicans, and barring an absolute complete polling miss that is virtually unexpected, we can firmly expect the Republican candidate will lie somewhere between these two numbers. And the average vote of the last 3 elections for the Republicans of 2020, 2018, and 2014 lied about 53.2%. It is also worth noting, though, that 2014 was a very big Republican year. 2020 was a Republican incumbent senator. And then 2018, they were going up against a strong Democratic incumbent in a very, very Democratic midterm election. But still, those are all very important factors, but 2024 is different than those 3 elections, so we have to judge that by what's going on right now as well. Now, on the Democratic side, in 2020, the Democratic candidate, the former governor of the state, Steve Bullock, got 45% of the vote. 2018, Jon Tester, who, as I mentioned, is up for re-election this year, got 50.3%. And in 2014, the Democratic candidate got 40%. Conducting a range analysis, I found the low end for the Democrats is about 29.7%. The high end is 60.6%. And the average vote percentage of the last 3 elections for the Democrat is 45.1%. This is so far the closest Senate race I've done, and one of the closer ones in the entire country. This is one where the low ends for both candidates certainly are going to be low as expected, but both of the high ends are well over 50%, which means both candidates have a very good shot at winning this race, and it definitely could go either way. Now, the fact that we know it's a very close race, we're trying to determine how close is it and which candidate and which factors point to which candidate being most likely to win. And that's where things get really, really interesting. When you look at the national environment of the 2024 presidential election being on the ballot at the same time as Donald Trump and as Kamala Harris, you have to think that advantage gives Tim Sheehy the benefit. Then you look at the polling right now, where the polls have Sheehy up by about, 6.7%, 7% of the vote or so. And 6.7% lead for Tim Sheehy in the polls. That's certainly not good news for Jon Tester, the incumbent. So those are 2 very, very important factors that's really hard to miss, especially when you look at historical precedent. The last time a Montana Senate race was on a presidential election was 2020, and the Republican won by 10 points. The only difference is it was an incumbent senator and not a Republican challenger, so his name ID and recognition was certainly much higher. So I don't think Sheehy is going to win this race by 10 points, but I think it certainly puts Tester at a disadvantage when he's already running as a Democratic senator in a reliably pretty red state at the presidential level, and has a Republican governor and as another Republican senator. He already has enough trouble for him. Running on the same ballot as Donald Trump, where he's going to win the state by a huge margin, is certainly not going to help him. So with that, I am predicting that for the 2024 Senate race in the state of Montana, I think Republican challenger Tim Sheehy will actually win the seat and flip the seat from blue to red, defeating two-time Senator Jon Tester, 2-term Democratic incumbent. It flips the Republican Tim Sheehy. He will win this seat after Republicans desperately wanted to get him in 2018 and were not able to. Tim Sheehy now runs and wins this seat on the same ballot where Trump is going to do very well in the state of Montana. I think definitely being perhaps a big reason why Sheehy is able to flip this state. That is the first flip we've gone over so far in the 2024 elections. And when you look at the 2024 Senate map, Republicans are now +1 from where they were on the 2022 Senate map composition. Republicans are now +1. The only other flip that could happen right now that we've not been called yet is West Virginia. We know for pretty much certainty that one is going to flip for sure. The rest are all either too close to call or Democrat at this time, so we're going to have to wait and see how those go. But right now, Republicans are +1. Democrats have 31 seats. Republicans have 39. After we've given Republicans Montana, Democrats we've given Washington, California, and Hawaii. Certainly we have a long way to go leading up to election night until this map is filled in. But that is going to be it for the 2024 Senate breakdown of the state of Montana. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay tuned for future videos like this one I have coming out in the next few days, and we'll have more than a few coming out every day leading up until Election Day. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like.
And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button and make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.